how's that to you?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Talk.
All right. Is it doing like an echo for you now?
No.
Okay.
I just hear your voice.
Awesome. Yeah, I can hear you a lot better. I think my AirPods are. Sorry, man. I'm just.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's the AirPods is the microphone. Okay, that'll work.
All right, cool. All right, so we'll get started in. Let's do a 5-second count. Because by now music is playing. So, all right. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm CJ Robles.
And I'm Ben Garrett.
And we have another episode of Side by Side for you. Today's episode, we decided to take on Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Yes.
I did want to do a little, I've been editing the videos and I've been butchering everybody's name. I do want to apologize for everything. I just real quick, if I would have just done a quick little, just audio on how Jon Favreau says his name, I would have totally won. I would have won better than last time. And I do know why. I was like, why did I get stuck on that? Because I was looking up New Orleans names for some earlier that night, and they had a lot of bows, like Beua or Ba, whatever I was gonna set up, but they had the names like that, and I kept saying oh, and then when I heard somebody say ooh, and then it stuck in my head. I was there. Welcome to the French Quarter here in New Orleans, and we'll come to Ravu. I was like, ooh, oh, and then I think the word was spelled, and I saw it, and I was like, oh. Then the whole time, Favreau. So now I got it down to Favreau, and I also did say Jennifer Esposito. It's Jennifer Esposito. So I want to fix that one too. But other than that, I'm gonna work on this. But I did catch myself. I kept saying at the end of the last episode, Ace Ventura 1 and 2. They're not Ace Ventura 1 and 2. It is. I got to give it a little bit more respect to that. It is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. They did come out. One came out before the other, but it's not 1 and 2. It's kind of. And what do you guys say? Were you gonna say something?
Oh no, sorry. No, I totally agree with you, man. Honestly, there's a point where I was trying to make it like Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls was a like a prequel. I was trying to make that work, but I can't see it. I can see after him finding the dolphin in Ace Ventura 1, like he becomes like famous, and then that's how they get in touch with him that way. But that's all I was gonna say right there.
Oh yeah, no, I really did, because I think. Do you think that you had to watch Pet Detective before When Nature Calls first on this one? Or?
No. Honestly, I actually have that written in my notes. I think it's Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. I feel like that would be a perfect standalone movie. You get a little bit of his zaniness in the first one, but I think honestly, if you knew Jim Carrey, and even because I have a couple movies that were like in between Ace Ventura and Nature Calls. You have Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and Batman Forever. So I really think that's why you could just go straight into Nature Calls if you'd seen any of these movies before, and been just like, okay, I know what's going on. I mean, there's really besides the whole albino thing with the albino pigeon and the albino bat, I don't see a connection. I mean, there's nothing, man. There's no like there's no acknowledgement of the previous film. So I think that somebody could go in, watch Nature Calls, and be like, this is fantastic. Is there another movie? Is there a sequel to this?
Yeah. I do. That's a really good point you bring. I want to say I did watch Pet Detective first, and then When Nature Calls, like in order, like I've been doing it. Usually do the one that comes out first. But I will say that I tried taking notes, and man, I caught a lot of the references I totally didn't get when I was younger. But I gotta say, it doesn't matter if you watch the Pet Detective or When Nature Calls. Jim Carrey steals the show.
Oh, dude.
He
Yes.
and like you mentioned, he had those other movies he did in between. Where the hell did he get the time to do this? Because it's sandwiched. There's three movies sandwiched in here, and I know some of these went back to back. Like they were filmed in one year, but they're released in another year. But
Hmm.
the a lot of the notes I have more notes on, I believe it's Pet Detective. No, I have more notes on When Nature Calls than I do on. Oh, I know why. Because what I did was when I watched Pet Detective, I had to I had to stop pausing it, and I just focused on the movie,
Yeah.
and it just cracked me the hell up. I mean, it's Jim Carrey taking just I see the characters that he created in Living Color, and you kind of see them in these movies a little bit more in When Nature Calls, because he plays a little bit different characters. But like I mentioned in the other side by side with Made, I was saying that you can take Ace Ventura and you can like he doesn't. There's no character development really. Well, you find out that he doesn't like bats, so you're like, oh, he doesn't really like. He doesn't. There's an animal he doesn't like, and he's a pet detective. But then
Hmm.
you really get to see the way he. It's hard. I feel like Jim Carrey just steals the show.
Yeah.
I don't I know this is an Ace Ventura character that he's making, but his performance is good. The faces he makes, the quips, the wittiness, the story. I want to talk about the story real quick on both of them because the stories are real simple.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, he's literally taking you on a journey, and you just kind of see what he sees. It's nothing, there's nothing really behind the back. I mean, behind the stage that we get to see that he doesn't. But what happens is you see the things that do transpire from Pet Detective to When Nature Calls. So the things I like are you both kind of get like he kind of becomes like a lawyer, and when he's doing his dialogue, and he does the
Yeah.
I thought you'd never ask, and he goes into this spiel, just saying all the information that how he's gathered in one line. I'm like, as an actor, like the camera is on Jim Carrey the whole time.
Hmm.
That means he's actually doing that. Like
Yeah.
he's going and just repeating his lines extremely fast and running out of air at the same time and not taking a breath. I was impressed. Like I'm more impressed with Jim Carrey, the actor, opposed to the movies. As in, like,
Yeah.
oh, those movies are, but like, I'm like, 'cause now when like I said, when I watch movies nowadays, I really, I look at everything. I try to just to kind of, but being a filmmaker, being an actor, I want to learn what I can, and watching a movie back to back. Oh, I'm sorry. The reason I didn't really take notes is because as soon as I noticed this about these two movies, as soon as I watched the first one, like it all came back to me, like
Yeah.
instantly, like all the scenes I was like, oh yeah, and it just made it more, it made it funny for me, like it made it more I was more engaged. I was more just enjoying watching Jim Carrey just talk out of his literally talk out of his ass, talk out of his butt. And Tone Loc also messed up Tone Loc's name too, the other one, sorry, Tone. But even his character Emilio, like it's funny how he's trying to just do the introduction is, oh, you see how Ace Ventura gets information out of his best friend. He literally like squeezes it out of him, and he's embarrassing him. And then you see the detective, was it Einhorn?
Einhorn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she comes in, and you see her, and like she's so aggressive, and it kind of gets you to the point where at first when I saw it, I thought Ace Ventura was part of the police department. No, he's literally just a PI. It just
Yeah.
happens to be investigating. So it's like he knows everybody, but he doesn't really know everybody. He just kind of he's kind of just hanging out at the station, like, and I do like the Guado character,
Hmm.
the balance character of him. It's like you kind of see the counterpart of, you can be all day in his office working with him or on the beat, or you can just be Ace. And man, he's everything he does is just over the top in this movie, and it's not annoying.
Hmm.
It's not like like I mean, I feel like, and I don't want to compare it, but I feel like sometimes. Oh no, I never mind. I'm not gonna say this because I've already this actor I've already make my amends with him, so I don't want to badmouth him. But there's another actor that I see that when I see him try to do the same kind of slapstick comedy, it gets kind of annoying. It gets very like just like he's trying, and I feel like in this movie, Jim Carrey's like the camera and the crew is working with him to get the best performance you can get out of him, and I think it worked. I honestly think that the Pet Detective, from just between the two, it's a little bit darker. I did notice. I know it's a little bit darker. The jokes are a little bit. I mean, there's also like a death scene. The guy
Yeah.
jumps off, and then that scene where that guy gets pushed off the roof, and then Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, and does the whole like, "Are you sure she heard everything from this room?" Yeah, the guy said, and he goes and does that scene, like the way he demonstrates his points, like opens the screen door yelling, and then, but it's just like, oh, like just being a smart ass. And you get to, you still get to see that. And I'll say this much, and when nature calls, I feel it was a little bit more directed, a little bit, there's a little bit more direction. I feel like Pet Detective was just let him loose.
Yeah. So what's kind of funny, man, is with Ace Ventura, I felt like it was a lot more grounded in reality.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Like it's something that you could see that happening.
Yes.
Somebody's like, oh, a pet detective, like somebody who goes and finds lost dogs, and like they kind of build that up. Just, I mean, it's not a whole lot, but at least in that first scene, you get like what he is used to. He's used to
Yeah.
finding dogs, and even the lady that references him, um, she mentioned that she lost her Shih Tzu and stuff like that, and he found that the Shih Tzu.
Yeah.
You see him going after that albino pigeon and trying to get a big reward. So obviously, money's tight with all these little cases. The only thing that really kind of seemed kind of wacky or zany in this movie, I felt, was the shark scene. If he'd really fallen in the tank, oh, he would have been torn to shreds. Whereas in Nature Calls, man, I mean, you have him flip two cars,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and just doing like these crazy, crazy things, and he's unscathed completely. Whereas, like I said, the only one that I saw in Ace Ventura, oh, I mean, he did fall off a building trying to get the pigeon too,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he fell on trash because that's gonna, block the fall of everything. But yeah, I felt like it was a more, I guess the best way to put it is like, it's a more realistic story. Like, oh, okay, somebody stole the dolphin, whereas the other one was just like, I don't know, they just had more. I can't even explain, or I can't find the right words to describe it, but it just had more of a zany feel, a wacky feel to it.
I feel like the jokes in the first one were kind of, they were, you had to kind of, they were just everywhere. Like
You
they were
there?
kind of, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Am I there? Something's going on. Let's see. All right, can you hear me?
Yep, we're good.
All right, there we go. So got back in. All right, so that's possible. All right. So I was saying in the first one, in the first Ace Ventura, I feel like or just sorry, I keep saying the first, and Pet Detective and When Nature Calls, I'll say if I were to make like comic book covers or graphic novel covers for these, the Pet Detective would be a little bit more on the darker noir side, where the
Yeah.
cover would be, and then the one for When Nature Calls would be like, I mean, it kind of like in the movie posters, he's riding two alligators.
Hmm.
So like I would make it more like that, exactly, more out of the box. Like, look what we're doing. He does fight an alligator in When Nature Calls.
Dude, I actually have a note about that. Do you think that like whenever they decided they were gonna have an alligator scene in Happy Gilmore, they were like, dude, he can just, like, I mean, it's almost like the same scene, man. Like
Yeah.
they're just sitting there wrestling.
I didn't even
Uh,
connect the dots, man. You're right. He pulls
yeah,
it back. He pulls him back into the water, and he says, "Don't
yeah,
finish what you can't start." And Billy Madison, he does almost the same
yeah,
thing. He did the elbow
yeah,
drop too.
yep,
Um, there was things. So I guess I'll focus more on Pet Detective right now. Because
yeah,
I want to talk about When Nature Calls, but I feel like with Pet Detective, I feel like it was darker, it was grittier. Like, I mean, even the mom, you see Ray Finkel's mom, and she's kind of in denial. And
yep,
then well, she's in denial, but she kind of is like, she's nice, but she makes the cookies like, oh, they're made little footballs.
yep. What a sports nut, huh?
Yeah.
Like whenever he goes to the room, it's like, die, Dan, die.
I just left it. Oh, we left it the way he found it. Like, that's always funny when they, when
Yeah,
you
man.
see
I
how they
mean,
do. parents is in denial with everything, and then you think the dad's all crazy because he's got a shotgun, but he's tired of people just messing with him. And this is like,
Yeah.
before social media, so this is like, people actually go into your house when they say that. So he pulls that shotgun on him, and then when he sits down, he's just like, you get to see that normality. He's just a normal guy, like, he ain't been here in forever. It's like 10 years. He don't come by, and you really like that scene to me. See, that's a dark scene. I feel like all over. Like that's like you're finding a serial killer and you just found his nest or his like his home, and you're seeing it where where nature calls it's just a straightforward movie. And that's why I said, like, I feel like there's a little bit more direction, and like they had to get from A to B to C to D to E and when nature calls. But in Pet Detective, I feel it was just like, here's the beginning and here's the end, and the middle it's all up to you. Like it's up to Jim Carrey to really sell that, and he did a awesome job. It's like like the way he just does his antics. Even like he gets back to Shih Tzu, and that lady, I guess, takes off his pants or whatever she does. But even that's like it's like eccentric. Like he's like, oh, he's holding on to the top of the pillar and the beam, and she's just going on him. And it's like that's even funny. Like, okay. I did notice more in When Nature Calls. I didn't really pick up on it on Pet Detective, but I did notice that a lot of the scenes with Jim Carrey when he's doing his Jim Carrey thing, he's just he's it's what am I trying to say? They're longer scenes, longer takes. As a director, I would just be like, okay, you're walking from here to the room. What are you gonna do? And then if he decides to take 10 minutes, he decides to take 10 minutes, and I don't want to question him on that. Like, why did he? Or if he does it in one shot, like I want to like. I don't know. I feel like he just, I just feel like as an actor, he really sunk his teeth into Ace Ventura. He really was like, I've created this character, and look what he can. Look at all the crap he does. But without a doubt, he's a very intellectual and intelligent character, very
Yeah.
smart. But it's I don't even know if he even like he fits with the times. Like, I mean, the way he dresses, the Monopoly Man. That scene, I didn't get it when I was younger, and I totally got it. And I've seen the scene a million times, but I guess now that I'm sitting down and focusing on it, I didn't realize he knocked out the Monopoly Man to wear him as a fur coat. As I didn't when I was younger, I was like, why does he punch him? And then right here, I was like, oh, the conversation leads up to, oh, why don't you give it a try? Okay, pop. He just puts him on. He starts strutting in front of everybody. Like that scene had me like, oh wait, that was in When Nature Calls. Sorry, that wasn't
Yeah.
in the sorry, I meant to also say the one he has a scene like that. See, he has a scene in both of them. He has a scene amongst the elitists, because even in Pet Detective, when he does a shark scene, he does all that silly stuff with the food, and then he's walking, he's just walking, and the guy's playing the violin or the cello, and he just pulls his arm, like is that in the script? I really.
No, no, I was actually reading up on that. That was improvised.
Oh,
He
so,
just
so that's
totally.
what I'm saying. There's a lot. I'm like I mean, like I said, I honestly I don't have any notes on Pet Detective. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, I think whatever Ben gives me, I could play off of. But I was just like, I don't want to. I just want to watch this movie. And I should have. I didn't make time to rewatch it and take notes, but I just saw the. I was like, this is a great movie. Like unlike Norbit, where Norbit is more of a performance piece by Eddie Murphy. I
Mhm.
feel like this is more of an improv piece from Jim Carrey playing against Ventura. There is a little go to him, but it seems like it's one of those things like just add water and it grows. This is one of those kind of things where you don't need to like give him a lot of like just let him do his thing. Um, the scene with the again, I really start to really Einhorn the Ray Finkel slash Ray Finkel. I got more of that now. Um, you know, being married to a ABA therapist that deals with behavior and psychology, and then me growing up and studying in school, and then you really before that movie came out, I just saw it as like, oh, it's but now it's like hey, that's a guy with mental health issues, and look at the extreme he goes at. And then I didn't catch it till I watched it this time, where there's a part where the dialogue says they're showing the Ray Finkel kick in the Super Bowl when Dan Marino's tied up, and even the commentators say the laces were out, they weren't in at all, and it was a botched kick. He still gets mad, and that's why he shoots it, and Ace is able to get the jump on him. But even at that, like that part where he was wrong, and the whole premise of his motivation or hers, Ray Finkel's motivation is to get back. I mean, there's they kind of have the mental break, and then that's what he becomes. But like it's, but that's kind of that's I mean that's he wrongfully is accusing people of things, and then that happens. But I mean, I got the like, okay, they're kissing a guy, but this time I saw it, it just cracks me up because all the little things they do, like they're all like the only person that doesn't kiss anybody is Courtney Cox in that scene.
Yep.
And then Jim Carrey goes, Ace Ventura goes, what do you know about pressure? Well, I have kissed a guy, a man. But like the joke behind all that, like it's that's I think that's a dark subject. That's a dark topic, and they kind of
Yeah.
just breeze through that whole movie with like I don't know. It's because they're not really because I was thinking about it. It's not really like it's just a more of a mental thing. It's not a whole like it's they didn't dig too deep in it. In other words, so we don't have to dig too deep in it. So I like to just keep it like that. But man, the hemorrhoid scene got me again. It just broke me.
Yeah.
I was just like,
The worst case of hemorrhoids I have ever seen.
it's also Dan Burrito. He's the one that Ace, come here.
Over
And
here. Yeah.
you know you see Ace come over, and then the gun part. Like, why would Dan Marino be in the car with Ace Ventura? It's a Super Bowl. Like, why would he? And then he's in there, and they're both sticking their heads out the window.
Dude, you know what's funniest thing is, man, I totally forgot at the beginning of the movie that he like breaks his windshield, and that's why he's looking out the window like a dog. You know, and it's not just like how he drives all the time.
Yeah.
Like it never just never dawned on me. I was just like, oh, like whenever I was younger, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he really likes animals, so he's gonna get out the window like an animal, you know? Like, because honestly, dude, this is Ace Ventura. I mean, that is literally a good chunk of my childhood. Like, just rewatching, having that on the background. Like, if the TV was a babysitter, I mean, Ace Ventura was babysitting me for a good chunk of my childhood. No joke, man.
It's
I didn't. It was fun to watch Jim Carrey. You know, it wasn't anything like, oh, I didn't get hardly any of the jokes. Actually, I didn't get most of the jokes whenever I was younger. I mean, a lot of them were kind of adult jokes. Like, I didn't know what hemorrhoids were whenever I first, watched that movie. Like seriously, that's how young I was watching this stuff, and I was just like, oh, did he poop his pants? Like that was my first thought whenever I watched that. I had no inclination, that was his dick or anything.
I will say that I did like about that. I did like the fact that they didn't make it look like a penis and like testicles.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I'm happy that what's up?
I will call it a penis from now on.
I was just like, I don't know, just like whatever it's called. But like I just think about it like I'm happy that they didn't make it look like real because as a kid,
yeah,
I kind of put that. I kind of got that idea. Like I didn't know. Like and you said a perfect example. You said two things that I was like, you hit right on the nail for me. It was just watching Jim Carrey because I watched these movies at the theater and they correct. I just remember laughing so hard because of Jim Carrey. And then the Preparation H. I've seen Preparation H commercials, and they talk about hemorrhoids. So I kind of knew something in the general area, but I didn't really know. So when they turns her around and it shows the butt, and you see what you see, I'm kind of like, I think that's what that is. Like I kind of just kind of put the pieces together, but I was like, I guess you can do that. But I also already had seen. See, this is kind of like messed up. I already had seen Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just kind of Buffalo Bill. Just kind of like, I think that's what he's doing. Because I mean I'm a kid and I already seen Silence of the Lambs, but we saw
Buffalo Bill in it,
Yeah, we saw that at movie night at my house. So that I mean, just kind of tells you like, my household. But we didn't really have much movie nights, but that was one of them. And but I remember just kind of putting it together, being like, I think that's what's going on. I'm gonna just go with that and move on. But his performance really, I mean, like I said, like that whole part, like all that stuff, even going to the mental house, like going to the ward, and he's doing all that, like just that like erratic behavior, and then he's I mean, every scene it links, and he's listening to Courtney Cox, which by the way, I just think she's like stunning in this movie. Like
Oh yeah,
Courtney
this
Cox
is
is like
right in the middle of Friends too, or actually at the beginning.
beginning of Friends. Yeah, so I feel
Yeah,
like I want to say Leprechaun kind of was coming around, came out around the same time, and Jennifer Aniston had that one. So it's like, dude, like Jennifer Aniston came out in Leprechaun, which is a cult classic, and I love it.
yeah.
But Courtney Cox went comedy with it, and it just kind of I feel like it was easier for her.
Oh,
Like, I mean, I do like that
yeah.
Jennifer Aniston's in a iconic horror movie, which is pretty awesome. But with the Jennifer Cox character being in Ace Ventura, I think that's a big, uh,
Sorry,
big,
man. I gotta run to the bathroom real quick.
go for
I'll
it.
be
I
right
will be
back.
here and I will talk by myself. We learned about the podcast that you can get away with certain things because certain things like when our nature calls, we have to get away and get up. Let's see what we can find out about. I honestly laugh my butt off at this age watching both movies. I ended up buying a double feature DVD set. I think it was like $13, but I purchased it. It was on Prime, so it got here, a couple days, like 2 days later, and I'm happy I purchased it. Now it's now part of my collection, and I am very very happy that I did this. Um, what else did I say? What I want to say? This movie, the first one. When Ben comes back, we'll talk about this. So this one came out in the beginning of the year. This is February. I'm on the Wikipedia page. It's February 4th, 1994. It's distributed by Warner Brothers. It's 86 minutes runtime. It was $15 million to make, which I think would have been kind of a small budget, but a lot still in the early 90s or mid 90s. But it grossed 107 million, and that's where it almost grossed $100 million. And honestly think that's pure Jim Carrey. And then knowing a little bit about his pedigree and his background and seeing how he got to this point, I'll say that all that practice and all that stage presence, comedy, improv, in living color, the movies he did, just like first he's wanted to be an actor. I can tell that he really really wanted to be an actor from like First Bite. He's just growing as an individual and as an actor, and he's really feeling comfortable. And man, he just understands the cinema. He really really gets it. I was talking about. Are you there? Let me know when you're back.
I'm there. I'm good.
All right, so I was just letting the listeners and the viewers know that I was just bringing up on the Wikipedia page Ace Ventura,
Hmm.
and I just said it was made by Warner Brothers. It was released February 4th, 1994, 86 minutes runtime, and it was on a budget of $15 million, which I
Wow.
think was still a good chunk of change back in the
Oh, yeah.
mid '90s, but not a whole lot. Still think it's kind of low. But it grossed 107 million, so almost $100 million in gross. And I'm thinking that's just pure Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That's all him. Like I gotta say, it's not like he's carrying this movie. It's not. It's about him and his interactions with certain people. I mean, the elitist and the when he goes sees the shark scene, he does not fit in. They show you how he sticks out. Even the New England clam chowder password to go see. I love that part too about the kind of like the '90s feel. You had to go to a friend's place who had a computer to look stuff up because we didn't have iPhones to do it for us. I like that they
Yeah.
have that scene. You have the tech friend, and I think that was cool that he
Yeah.
had the friend that came in and so I was saying like you take all of Jim Carrey's acting prior to that, all the movies
Oh man.
he really wanted to be an actor. He really fought. He pushed this. He was coming on a lot of stuff, and I think this part where he just gets all these movies. I think it finally all the seeds he had planted, all the time he put into it. I think it all finally started paying off, and he had to he stuck up stuck into it. And the montage in these movies are funny. The stealing, the trying to see who has the rings, like
Hmm.
those they're just like basically Jim Carrey just here, turn the camera on, go for it, and just let him figure it out. I guess I don't know. I just did when
That's
you saw.
Aerosmith playing too. Like
Yes,
whenever I was listening to it, I was like, "That's Aerosmith."
I like the guy with the head banging. He goes, "Hey, is he
Yeah.
here?" Okay, thank you. Because
He just keeps going. I was just about to mention that. Yeah. Oh, whenever he's talking to is it Tone Loc? I thought it was Tone Loc. Is
Don't
it?
look.
Do you know?
Yeah, I think it's Don't Look. I think that's. I remember that from the.
All right,
I
we'll
just
go
I
with Tone Loc.
yeah
I'm
this
gonna defer to your judgment on this one.
yeah, I
Um,
remember from back in the day. I just said it stupid last time.
anyway, whenever he's talking out his ass to him, and then at the very end he's like, "Oh, sada mio," when he's doing like the opera voice, and I never caught that before. It caught me, man. It got me pretty good. Um, but oh man, so what was really funny is the other day at work, I asked somebody a question, and he was like, "Oh, what does he say at the end?" He's like, "That's none of your damn business."
Oh
And
yeah,
I'd appreciate it if you,
the gum.
yeah, we asked him about the gum. I appreciate it if you mind your own or something. I can't remember exactly what he says, man.
Yeah,
It's been a bug.
he goes, mind your own business or something like that. Like stay out of
Yeah,
instead
let
of
me
my
see if I
personal
can
business.
because I let's see here quotes.
Here on Side by Side, you be ready to hear mispronunciations of names and quotes because I did one last time.
Quotes that I should know by heart.
I'm telling you, man,
Um,
you put me on the spot. I'm not gonna go
oh,
10 for 10 free throws. I'm gonna go like 2 for
here it
10.
is right here. That's none of your damn business. I'll thank you to stay out of my personal affairs.
They're the person.
That's what he says. And somebody at work said that to me the other day, and like eyes died laughing, man. Just because like at first it literally took my mind the whole second to just like what, and then I was just like, oh, like it just you all good?
No,
You
no,
good over there?
I was making sure I could hear on both sides of you because I felt like I couldn't hear on my left, but then all of a sudden I could. It's my ears, my little ear was me. There we go. My little ear was off for a minute.
Gotcha. But dude, like it just yeah, man. As soon as he said that, like it was a second of reflection, and then it just like clicked. I was like Ace Ventura, man, and yeah,
Dude, I love it when
that's like I said, that's at the end whenever him and Marino are going to the Super Bowl with a line of cop cars behind them, right?
yeah,
Something like why wouldn't the cop cars be ahead of them?
exactly.
Why are they leading it?
I started laughing loud, and everyone in my house was like, "Quiet!" I was like, "Why would Ace Ventura be driving Dan Marino to the damn
Yeah.
Super Bowl? You would put him in a cop car and have the flashing lights get there, let him warm up a little bit. It's halftime, see if he can come back and win the game." But I
And
also, honestly, with Dan Marino too, always
oh, I was gonna say like at the end whenever he finally gets to the stadium and he comes in for the second half, they're like, and the Dolphins' favorite player, Dan Marino. Dude, you had to know like all those other players were like, this son of a bitch,
yeah,
you know? Like,
he's the quarterback.
yeah, right.
I do love it when you get a. I love it when you get a quote in real life from a movie from somebody you would least expect it.
Yep.
And then I love it when that other person's like lame or just they're just not part of the crew, or I'm not the crew, but you know how you work or school, and then there's somebody that comes in and then they use it, and you're just like, oh my god, I like you. Like
Yeah.
I like the McFly. It's like from Back to the Future. When somebody uses that on me, I would just lose it. When I worked when I worked at Sam's Club when I was living in San Marcos, like I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. There's a bunch of dudes that would quote movies, and the McFly one was funny. Like, oh, you chicken? It's just like, what? You don't want to close the bay? Why you chicken McFly? And then somebody says that to you, like, all right, I'm gonna go close the bay because I'm liking you more and more. I just remember that one was always like the one that stuck out a little bit. But we I mean, not everybody. It's a few of us. It was fun. I like it
Yeah.
when you can take a quote out of context and put it in reality. It helps me want to be in reality more when I'm like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
We do. Well, I have a I have a friend that I worked at a few restaurants or just two restaurants with, but worked with him a couple years, and he likes a lot of movies from the 80s and 90s, and we'll quote a lot of movies. But I'll quote them at like your waiting tables. I mean, it's like fine dining establishments, really nice places. But if the table lets me and they start showing that like they don't want to be like, I don't want a guy just standing there all serious. I need someone to talk to interact. You need to interact with me. I'm like, all right, well, you don't know this, but I don't know how to shut up. So you gotta if you're gonna get me going, and then it's like or like something like you get a table that has a good vibe and you hit them with a quote from a movie and they don't know you hit it with them, and then towards the end of the meal they're like, hey, did you use the quote on me from Richmond High? Like, yeah, I did. It's like Spicoli, like, oh yeah, it's like just stuff like that. Like I like that. So that's cool that you get to see that still, and then somebody says it, or even like from Super Troopers, Farva, like, oh, shut up, Farva, and you're just like, I gotta shut
Okay,
up.
no cream.
I
You know.
gotta liter of cola, or like, hey, what do you want to drink? Can I get a number two with a liter of cola?
Yeah.
They look at you and they go, "You son of a bitch, you got me." Like, yeah,
Oh
um,
man, one that I use at work all the time, and this is really I have to get to know somebody at least a little bit before I use this one, and like I'll say I'll do something and it's like I got him right, so I was like, I got you good, chicken fucker. You know, like I that is one of my favorite things to say to people. Uh, you know that, and then whenever I can pull off the, you know who won the Grammy that year? It was the sunshine on my fucking shoulder, John Denver.
Denver.
You know, I love that quote too. Those two man are just like, that honestly, dude. I use Super Troopers a lot now that I think about it because like somebody was pointing at something, and I was like, no, you got big, beautiful brown lips. You know, like
Do I do the no? I do. I have. I okay. So I think we might have put a pause, and I think we might have found a segue. But I'll say that I do like when somebody says something like when I'm the token whatever, brown guy somewhere, and someone says something, and I say, why he talked to you like that? And I'll go, yeah, they think I'm Mexican. You're not. Like, but I'll even take it a step further, and I'll say, he's like, what did that guy say? He goes, yeah, they think I'm Indian, or they think I'm Italian, or they think I'm Greek, and then, but it's only when I say, and it's funny because I am Mexican, so when I say that they think I'm Mexican, that's when people are like, wait a minute, he said Super Troopers, like the way the Corny
yeah,
says, Thorny says it, Thornburg, he says it. I think I like that those quotes. Yeah, Super Troopers is a very quotable movie.
it really is.
Ace Ventura is a very quotable movie, but it is a very distinguished quoted movie where you can't really disguise any of the quotes. Like, alrighty then, like
Yeah,
that.
dude. Oh, sorry.
No,
I
no,
was
go for it.
watching Sister Sister the other day because that's on Netflix
Yeah, I
now,
saw that.
and there's one episode where I think it was like Tia comes out of her room and she's like, I just can't stand it anymore in there with her. She's just doing Jim Carrey quotes all day. She's just like doing that, and she comes like, "All righty then," and she just comes up and does that, "Sir," you know.
Who is her? And I do like that it from Pet Detective it does those little things come over to When
Yeah,
Nature Calls, and that's
yeah.
so it's really like I feel like it didn't matter which Ace Ventura you take, you can switch them, it's the same character. The only thing is in When Nature Calls he does kind of have that spirituality with the monk, which I
Mm-hmm.
do like that they didn't really touch on that too much. It goes with the story, but like the other than that, okay, so now I need you to explain something to me. Little boy me didn't get it, and adult me didn't get it. I'm very lost, and I think I know the answer, but I don't want to accept the answer because it's kind of I don't know. But so yeah, I have given a vow of celibacy. I didn't know what that was at the time, but now I know what that is. So he was not trying to have sex with the with that hot virgin tribes girl, the princess actually. But he was saying that I guess to keep himself out of trouble. But then what do you call it? What's his name? Greenwald or the
Yeah, Fulton Greenwall, I think is his
Greenwald? Yeah, he catches him in the hut. Is he? What is he doing in there? I still
Oh,
don't.
you know what he's doing
Is
in
he
there.
just okay? So he's just
Oh, you haven't had somebody come in, you know, like
dude. It was like 93 the last time I got caught. So it's like, but and this is why it sounds kind of. And you're also gonna laugh when you find out what about 40-year-old virgin. I learned watching that movie, but but I was watching it. I'm watching this and I'm like, well, I guess he's whacking it or he's masturbating and I'm like, okay, but then at the end they say she's not a virgin. So I was thinking he was hiding her in the leaves and then I saw it again. I was like, no, he's by himself. So I think he is. Okay,
yeah,
when did he sleep with her? They never show. But I guess you're just supposed to get it. You're just supposed
yeah.
to.
I think it was honestly, I was kind of wondering the same thing. Like, when did that happen? I mean, they never really explicitly showed it. I mean, I don't expect them to.
No, but then that scene, he's by himself, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm
he's
not
by
making. I'm
himself
okay,
in that
okay.
one. Yes.
Because I just thought
No,
maybe
no.
she was. Because also too, I remember I was like, this is before I had learned about that fun stuff. So
Yeah.
when he covers himself, to me, I was like, was she under the palm trees? But then when I saw it this second time, like, well, when I focused on it this second time around, this time around, I was like, no, he's by himself. Because usually
Yeah.
when that scene after the movie, after I saw, it, I just kind of like, oh, whatever. But now when I was like, I need to pay attention. So he's
I mean, that's a valid point though. I mean, that would explain it. Like if if he like saw her or something like that, that would make sense. But
the
I think he just thought he was like, oh, you know what? I touched a bat. Maybe, yeah, it might have been like right after that. He had that brush with death, and then maybe he went and like,
well,
oh, no, this
I,
celibacy.
I'm thinking because kind of his spiel on that celibacy talk is like, oh, I don't need it, but he's still jerking off. He's still doing it. Like, he's like he's
Yeah,
trying to act like I don't need it, but he still needs it somehow. So okay, so that's cleared up. The other thing I wanted to, and this is where I got like, this is when you said that it could be a standalone movie when nature calls. This is what I think. I honestly, the beginning homage or to Cliffhanger.
yeah,
That whole scene is very close to Cliffhanger.
yeah.
Like very, very, very close. If you've seen Cliffhanger and you watch this, you will laugh your butt off. But if you watch this on its own, you don't need to watch Cliffhanger to get it. I was just laughing that they went so far with the quality though. It looks really good.
Yeah,
And there's a part there. There's so my little animation eyes is looking at it. I think they use CGI and when they first show Jim Carrey hanging on the side of the mountain.
possibly.
I think they use a little when
He
he
looks like he's pretty limber and can climb up some rocks.
But the way he looks though, the way the camera is, the way he's turned like this because the shot comes from a guy on a mountain.
Yeah.
There's I don't know if it's there's I don't see CGI in the background. I see it on the face where it
Ooh,
kind
it may
of
be
a little. I
okay.
mean a little bit, and this is CGI with like more film. It's film stock than the digital is now. But on that part, I saw that, and then I saw the part where he's eating the zebra with the lions.
Yeah. Oh, that one was definitely for
But that
sure.
doesn't really look like. I mean, it's CGI, but that doesn't
Yeah.
really look. So what I'm trying to say is, I think they use it in the beginning. But I want to bring that up because that is like that's quality. That movie, like, how much did this one cost? Like that,
30 million. I'm looking
30,
that up right now.
30
The gross,
mil,
yeah, the gross in just the U.S. was 108 mil, 212 worldwide.
212 box office. I mean, this is what they're talking about making a a comedy. In the I mean, when I was looking at some stuff from the 90s, they're saying like you can make a comedy for cheap and sell it for a lot. I think this is what they were talking about when they were using the that saying when I came across it where like just make a low budget comedy and see how much you can get for it. But honestly, I think this is all Jim Carrey.
Well, they
Like
actually had some filming in San Antonio. I'll be
oh wow,
in
the zoo.
Kerrville
Well, and that's see, and when nature
in
calls,
Hondo. Sorry.
it's I think I think they might have a zoo there or something, but or space for it. But I'll say that I mean that's cool. That's shot in Texas. I did
Yeah.
not know that, but that's what I was gonna say about when nature calls. It looks like you can film that on a studio or like on a there's not a lot of scenes. There's not a lot.
Well,
It's Jim Carrey like dragging out scenes, but they're I mean the a hungry fella like feeding the condor in the beginning. Do you think that's in the script, or is that Jim Carrey just being like, "Hey, we need to fill this up"?
I,
Well,
I don't know, man, because so the director and the writer of Ace Ventura: Nature Calls is Steve Odekirk, and apparently, like, just from what I kind of read and looked up, it looked like he just saw Ace Ventura and was like, we could take this a step further, and just
uh,
wrote all this crazy stuff. Apparently, Jim Carrey wasn't like the biggest fan of doing a sequel. And they said it showed in production or showed in filming. And honestly, like I thought it was through and through good. It didn't look like, it looked, I don't know. It would be hard to tell if he was actually having a good time.
well,
Uh,
he's that good of an actor. I think it's hard to tell.
yeah.
Well, a quote I saw a video with him being interviewed, and he said that was the when he did Ace Ventura 2, and I'm happy you brought that up because he said that he did not want. He instantly realized he didn't like doing sequels. He didn't like being the same character twice.
Yeah.
Now, I honestly think if I mean he's an actor. We see his performances after this. I mean after Ace Ventura when nature calls his next role is Cable Guy, which is a darker comedy.
Yeah.
It's when you go I mean I saw that one in theaters when I saw it when I walked out like okay I get it but I was expecting funny ha ha I didn't get that. But when
Yeah.
I saw Cable Guy a couple months ago and I was just laughing my ass off at the parts I'm like, okay, I have to be more of an adult. I get this. But I mean, his let's see. After so he had the Cable Guy, then he has Liar Liar, the Truman
Yeah.
Show. So it gets a little like Liar Liar. It goes back to like super slapstick, but then Truman Show is not. It's a more of a dark satire, I guess.
I would think that I wouldn't even call that one dark. I would just say it's
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is the story is dark.
yeah, I
A
mean, yeah, I
guy.
get what you,
I would
yeah.
and I think that's why because I honestly think if they could have easily made 4 or 5 Ace Venturas
Oh,
easily in that time span. I don't know why. I mean, I think maybe Jim Carrey was because they didn't do Dumb and Dumber because of Dumb and Dumber 2 because of Jim Carrey. So until later, but I mean, that's too
yeah.
long. You can't go. I feel like you can't go 20, 30 years without doing a sequel. You got to do it like I feel like you have to do a sequel right away or at least somewhere in the time frame because I think let's see, let's talk about sequels real quick. Like Back to the
It,
Future 1 is as farther than 2 and 3 are, but 2 and 3 are like they feel like right next to each other.
yeah.
And I feel like this one, I feel like if you were to do an Ace Ventura, if you were to do one every year or every 2 years, like I honestly think there's like I saw it more in When Nature Calls. A lot of his, I mean, just think about the stuff that he does. Like as an actor, he moves his ears.
Hmm.
He's a hippopotamus, and he's mimicking. He's like that shit's hard to do. I can't.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess because I got tiny ears, I can't do it. But still, but like to do
I
that,
can't do it either. So
and then the
I don't
scene
know.
and the scene, I mean, he does an eyebrow thing when he looks at the princess, his eyebrows go crazy. And then the scene where he's torturing the guy and he does the eyeball, like I have contacts in and I can touch my, but I couldn't do that. I mean, I can, it just feels kind of gross. But like for
No.
him to like really know about that or to do that stuff, like it's just it's him going to the another top notch acting level. And I think that you know him not wanting to be on that set, I can totally see it. There is something I caught in in When Nature Calls, the villain for Me, Myself, and Irene, not the Chris Cooper character. Which one is it? He's Daniel Green. He plays, yeah, he plays Dickie. He's actually in Nature Calls. He's the villain in Me, Myself, and Irene, but he's actually in Nature Calls, and he only has a one scene, like one little split in it. Like it's only one little frame that he's in. That I noticed him, and I was like, is he like a friend of Jim Carrey's, or how did he get the role for Me, Myself, and Irene? Like those movies aren't really connected outside of Jim Carrey. So I was like, that's pretty cool that you kind of like he has like a snippet in this movie, and then he comes out in this other Jim Carrey movie as a villain, which like as the main villain, which is kind of cool. Like I just like I like watching movies and seeing people, and I guess I'm bringing this up because in between these movies, I saw that guy Dick Miller. Have you heard of who do you know who Dick Miller is?
Oh, no.
When he's the farmer from Gremlins, the older
Oh,
gentleman.
wait, are you talking? Yeah, the one where the one who talks about gremlins and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, he knows everything about him. He's like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, okay, I know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
he's been in a lot of movies. Like he's been in a lot of like Roger Corman films. Like I was when he first started, and he made they made a documentary on him, and he recently passed in like 2000. I don't know, some mid 2000s, like 2015, 2016.
Mhm.
But he had like he shows you how he did a lot of his movies, and I like seeing that. I like that I can kind of see the same people in the same movies. Just they do that a lot now, but in the '90s when you see it, I feel like it was like I don't know why I'm bringing this up, everybody. I just got excited and I just wanted to share it. But just certain things about this movie that I see, which is I was like, oh, cool, kind of connected. Um, like I said with the notes, I'm a little I can talk about this movie. There's nothing really that doesn't stick out, and there's nothing that sticks out where I'm like, oh, like everybody knows that's seen these movies, they know the parts that stick out. But I didn't really catch a whole lot of different things other than this go around of when Nature Calls. Is that I really felt like I got to see a lot of his characters that he created when he was younger. Um, he does. I feel like there's a Fire Marshal Bill impersonation there. He does like a lawyer, and then the part where he does like a priest. He has a priest character. Him and Damon Wayans do those corrupt like church guys, and he does one. Repent and thou shalt set you free. Like he does a lot of characters. Ace Ventura is a very clever person, just a individual. He even like the way he finds the guano on the bottom of the shoe. The way, oh, that's what I was gonna say about the driving. I was trying to figure out. I have a note here, like, why the hell did they just show? Like, what's the point to the wrecking the Jeep scene? I literally wrote that, and then I saw the next scene, and I go, oh, I think I figured it out why they did it. They want to show you how smart. Jim Ace Ventura is by able to just piece together how he fell, the guy,
Yeah.
the bad guy, but they're also gonna show you how stupid he is, so how dumb he can be. So he's wrecking the way he drives. Like they show you something he does really dumb. Like why do you drive like that right before he does something really like smart? So it's like I think they're trying to show that. But I mean that's my note. Like why? What was the whole point
Yeah.
of that? Why
Well,
did they?
oh, sorry.
No, no, go on.
I was gonna say in Nature Calls, man, it seems almost like he's more like Sherlock Holmes. Like you have these just like it reminded me of that scene with the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes where he's
Yeah,
pointing out all this stuff. And the first one he's like really a detective. I mean, you even have like detective music in the background, in Pet Detective. And you almost have like James Bond music in Nature Calls
yeah,
whenever and so I just thought that was kind of interesting. Um, you know, like I said, man, like whenever what is it, Roger Predactor? I think like right after that scene, he's like all you just hear like that real kind of bluesy, jazzy music that you
yeah,
hear in
yeah,
detective movies
yeah.
and stuff like that. And so I just thought that was kind of interesting. It almost seems like he's more of uh, like I said, a Sherlock Holmes character in Nature Calls, as opposed to Pet Detective. Not to say that he doesn't have that same reasoning, um, but it just seems a little bit more prevalent in the second movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can feel it. Like, it does have a very he kind of does the same thing in Pet Detective, but he really, I don't know. In Pet Detective, I feel like you're going along with the journey. You're kind of slowly figuring things out. Where
Yeah.
in When Nature Calls, it's kind of like, what can you do? What can you what are you doing? Sorry, the band. I agreed with you earlier, but the band in Pet Detectives is Cannibal Corpse. Um, that's playing in the background. Did we say that? I thought we said I think we said Metallica.
I don't know if we did, but yeah, that's like one of his favorite bands, right?
Yeah, yeah, Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, I remember like my cousin always brings it up when we talk about it, and I was like, yeah, that is the band. And then and then I just agreed. I mean, it happens. People make little things like that. But I mean, there's just I really do like I can take a lot out of this. I mean, I even like Dan Marino's character in this. He plays himself, but you
Yeah,
don't really he doesn't really do anything. He's just there. It's like he's just Dan Marino. Like that's it. Like
weird guy.
you don't need more from him. You don't need like just the scene. Like you're that's enough. We just need we need Dan Marino in here. And I like that they picked him. I mean, if you think about it, if they're gonna pick NFL teams, they're kind of limited in a way with like what they can do with the mascots. But they they did well with this movie with picking I mean Miami. He does it for the he looks the thing I like about the convincing and part in the When Nature Calls is he tells him $20,000 and he's like really
Yeah,
like
he's
it's all
like, I let go of all these material things.
like it's all it takes.
He tells
That's
him that.
that's all it takes. Oh, yeah, exactly, exactly. That's right. I don't do it. And he tells him that, and he really still goes back to it. So it's like I mean, the part that cracked me up in the movie theaters was when he goes, "You're gonna miss me," and then they pop the bubbly, and they're all drinking. Like they're all like, "Yeah, get the hell out of here." I mean,
Yeah,
even I have a note here of like the stinky. That's like a Ace Ventura thing. The penis. Yeah. I consider it bulky, but it's carry on. And he goes, no
yeah.
peanuts. Like, oh yeah, okay. So like little things like that. Like I'm like Ace Ventura. Like just I mean, but also the I didn't even connect this part, so I saw this time around was he's in the airplane and he's going yak yak, and you're like, okay, he can do calls, okay, but he uses it again. He uses it when he does the gorilla silverback, and that's why I was like, oh, that's a little foreshadowing there. Okay, I never
Yeah.
connected the two. That they I felt like if they would have just like I would have assumed he can do that. Like they didn't have to show that in the airplane. Like you could I would have assumed that because he's Ace Ventura. Like, and I feel like that's what I think maybe the big thing was Jim Carrey didn't want to do it again. Like he was just like no. But I feel like they could have had a lot of material, man, with Ace Ventura. I mean, I haven't even looked up the other stuff. I know there's got to be at least two or three other movies because I know we said there's like the Ace Ventura 3, I believe, is with the little boy. I know they had like an animated series for a while. It wasn't with Jim Carrey, but I didn't see it. But I mean, I saw some of the show. I never like really tuned into it. But I'll say that with that, like they have there was a a lot of product here for this to use. But maybe I feel like maybe they capitalized a lot on this, and they just said, "Nah, we already milked it. We've hit 2 grand slams. Let's not go for anymore." I would have loved this. I would not like to have seen like Jim Carrey play like an old version of Ace Ventura, like burnt
No.
out and stuff. Like no, I would like to see it. Well, I mean, maybe nowadays we'll see if he would do it if they can kind of figure something out. But even at that, that's already been 30 years already going on. I wouldn't want to see a remake.
No.
Nah, it's too late now. I feel like that happened. But I think maybe he could kind of pull it off with this character. Maybe.
I think you would have to be like if we saw a Return of Ace Ventura, it would be in a movie like this is the end or something like that, where you can
Yeah.
have like a something along those lines. Like maybe if you had it was like you know a Total Recall of the '90s, and then you just have this character like pop up, and he's like old and
Yeah, that would be all
but
right. Like
still wearing the same
you have
coat.
like he does like a cameo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It couldn't be like a full fledged. I wouldn't want to see a full fledged Ace Ventura movie. Simply because of the fact, man. I mean, with Ace Ventura, I mean, you probably could have stopped it there and been just fine.
The
You
first
you
one?
could have had,
Just
yeah. I mean, you
okay.
could have had just a solid movie. Like, honestly, man, it's in my opinion, it's almost kind of like The Hangover. Like they did that one too many times. Like if they just had The Hangover, perfect. Hangover 2, I can go with. Hangover 3, ah,
Yeah. I,
but if they just kept it with a Hangover, I mean, perfect. Instant classic. Don't worry about. But I mean, like you said, you gotta. If you see a cow that's full of milk,
you
are
gotta
you just gonna let it sit there?
and
You know?
I think that's a great example. Hangover 3, like I said, I mentioned before, I've seen it. I saw it 6 times at theater, and not just by coincidence, but I did watch it that many times. Hangover 2, I've seen it a few times. I thought it was not as good as the first one, but I thought it was up there. The third one, I feel like they lost momentum, and I feel
Yeah.
like they tried to close, like they tried to seal the story. They should have just let it. They should have just showed the guys go up, do crazy stuff, and then maybe bring Doug in it like they kind of did a little bit more,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more. But outside of that, just let them see what the guys do. I mean, you can only black out so many times like that, but in reality, like people have so many drunk blackout stories. Like like I would think so. Like I hear a lot of like it's not just like always the same people. Just random people have stories, so I think you can relate to that. Like take someone that doesn't really like do what they do, and then put them in the same scenario, and how do they survive, or how do these guys get together? I feel like they ran out of steam on that one, but like with the Jim Carrey character playing Ace Ventura, honestly, think maybe this is only a '90s character. He probably wouldn't survive in the 2000s. Like I feel like John McClane for Die Hard. I feel like he's definitely an '80s, '90s character. The 2000s kind of ruined him a little bit, and it's not because the people get older. I just think the storylines, the time frames changes, and I feel like you have to once you catch lightning in a bottle at that point, you have to capitalize on it. But I really do like the I like all the things I'm thinking about Ace Ventura when nature calls. It is a standalone. It's a great movie by itself. You don't you
Bumblebee tuna. You
Bumble
know, Bu-
Bumblebee
Bumblebee
too,
tuna.
and then
Oh
Tom
my god.
yes Tommy Davidson character comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great. Like he's perfect for the role. Like he was like perfect for that. And then they have experience with each other from back in the day. And then they let's just like it was like a cool like I hope Jim Carrey kind of got him that role, like brought him back a little bit because I mean, even just the when they reveal him, they're like you see this big guy, big tribe guy come out, and you're thinking like, oh, okay, maybe there's a joke behind this, or he's gonna fight him, okay, maybe, and then you see then you see it's Tommy Davidson, and you just lose it because he's all like he's like a vicious like feral like cat, just but the montage too where he gets his butt beat, like that's funny. That like those little scenes right there where he's just like he's trying to show himself to the tribe and he's cheating. Like he's like finding corners and just cheating. He pushes that guy on the coals and steps over him and he's like, yeah. And then he pulls the towel off that guy or he pulls off his like his towel and he smacks him in the ass and like he falls in the water. I honestly didn't get that. I had to I didn't get it till now where Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura was on the raft floating down the waterfall. Like
Yeah.
I knew that happened, but I didn't really get it because you hear that's a big one, but it's because they catch him. I knew that they caught him, but I didn't understand in the movie how they caught him. It's just he just gets caught like second guessing to grab the albino. That's when they show that to show him like he's still not sold on grabbing it. Like he doesn't want it. He even gets
Yeah.
caught. So I watching him this go around kept it grounded for me. It kept it real grounded for me, where I was able to kind of like watch a movie and get the movie, but I still prefer the first way. So I just watch Jim Carrey. Just watch him. Like know that there's a story there, but you don't gotta keep up with the stories. Like this is like performance piece to me. This is a performance art piece. Like
Yeah.
he's just like he's got like this he because he's known for going Jerry Lewis, but he doesn't go like Jerry Lewis in this one. It's its own character. He's not doing falls. He's not really doing like I mean he's falling off things, but he's not him himself. He's not like falling on like the stage he does, or he's not going super slapstick. The things he's doing that are around him are there's just so many. I mean we haven't even talked about the rhino scene. Like
That's in my notes, honestly, man. Like,
dude, that scene, that's funny. Like he's a good detective. He's a good and he's doing his job. And it's funny seeing a family like, oh look, it's giving birth, and it's like for him to sell that performance, man. Like, so when you came up across that he wasn't like happy on the set, what you hear, like what you read on that, like,
so I think it was probably an IMDb on the facts.
okay,
Let me see here. Nature calls. I think that's where I probably saw that or the trivia. That's where I find most of the interesting things.
the the spit too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sign of respect. Paul, let me show you how much I respect you guys.
Let's see here. Yeah, it was according to Simon Callow, Jim Carrey didn't really want to make the film, which made on-set experience as awkward. Um, who that's going to be the main villain, Vincent Cadby.
Okay.
Is who that was. So he spent a lot of time off sick. Yeah.
Because if you, because as you're thinking of the scenes he's in, he's by himself a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
So in Pet Detective, but Courtney Cox is there along a lot of the time. This one he's a lot by himself. So maybe I can see that.
Okay. So, quick question: you said the first movie cost 15 million to make.
I believe so. Yeah.
That's how much he got paid for the second movie.
That's
out of the $30 million budget, they spent 15 million on Jim Carrey.
That's whack. Because that's whack. It was 15 million to make the first one, and the second one was 30 million. So half the money goes to Jim Carrey.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I totally understand, but
he has to.
God.
He has to capitalize, dude. I mean,
yeah, that must have been whenever he had that scene. Whenever he was, like, Ricky, heal me. Like that had to have been what he did. Whenever they were like, "We'll offer you $15 million." I mean, it was a sound investment.
I mean, in '94. Oh, I even butchered I said like 1990, 92 last time. It's 94, 95. But even, dude, that's a lot of money. I mean, but he's ranking it in, man. Dude, he's ranking it in right here. He literally is killing it. Like,
and like I said, he had The Mask, Batman Forever, which honestly, out of the three, is probably the least. Oh, actually, that probably made a lot of money. And then Dumb and Dumber. I mean, you have those three movies. And then that's probably why they had to pay him so much,
I want to know how much, if he got that much I want to know how much he was getting for Cable Guy, Liar Liar. So, I mean, Man on the Moon. And have you seen that he has a documentary on Netflix?
I watched it.
Yeah, I saw it. Andy and was it Jim and Andy? It's good, man. But for him to be in that character the whole time, like that's gotta be rough on you, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, what was it? That wrestler? He was saying like it was like working with Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, Jerry Lawless.
Yeah, and that's what I thought was really cool about that movie is you had a lot of people reprising like their roles. I mean, yeah, of course they looked older and stuff like that, but I mean, it wasn't.
They were themselves from younger times, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I even like that. That Danny DeVito is in the movie, but it's like he's paying Danny DeVito, but he's also not Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, I need to buy the cutout. There's in my Amazon cart, I have actual cutout of Danny DeVito. It's a little pricey, so I've been waiting on it, but I want to get it. He's only like, I mean, he's an icon, dude. Like that's the thing I love about like the cinema. It's sometimes somewhat manipulating, but still, like I don't need to really know how short someone is or how tall they are. Like Tom Cruise forever was on Apple boxes saying he was 6'2" and he's 5'6", 5'7". So I mean, I don't care about that. Like that's kind of cool that you
Danny
know.
DeVito is a treasure, man. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Oh my god!
Dude,
Like
even if he just
him
did
and
that
Frank
alone,
Reynolds.
man. Yeah, Frank.
What's that?
Even if he just did Frank Reynolds on his own, like if that's all he was known for. God, that's amazing. I mean,
I I recently watched that new Jumanji movie,
Oh,
where he's The Rock plays him
yeah.
kind of, and that was that was interesting. It wasn't a terrible movie.
I had it on. But I stopped it. I didn't want to ruin it for myself. I saw like the first 10 minutes. I saw them all kind of get back together. I saw the first one. I saw the Jumanji, not the Robin Williams one. The first one of the Jumanji with the Rock. I saw that one on pure luck. Not luck. On pure just blindness. I didn't see any trailers for it. I knew what it was like. I wanted to watch a movie that week, and I went to go watch that movie. And I was very surprised when I went and there was no seats, and it was already like the second weekend. And I was
Yeah,
like, okay, there's no seats here. So I remember having to sit like way to the left and being like, okay, I'll just move all the way to the right. I don't want to sit on the left side. I'll sit at the right. So I remember just the movie started and was walking to the right and I was like, I'll just stay here where I'm at. So I was more to the right. What I'm trying to say is like it was a horrible seat. And I just decided to be like, I'm gonna stay here because the movie started and I was like, I wish I got a better seat. This movie's it's wicked funny. It's good.
yeah.
It was way more. My intentions for it were to be like a bad movie, and maybe just a little fun in here, but it was good from start to finish. Was the second one? Did you feel like it was like that?
It was more of the same.
More the same?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It was fun, and they had like little things here and there that were different. Of course, and honestly, I forgot about this until they brought it up in the second movie. But they destroyed the game or the console or
Yeah.
whatever it was, at the end of that movie. So, like, they have to go back and rebuild it, and there's you know uh, technical issues and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I finished watching it.
Uh,
I'll say the Jack Black character for the first one like really sold it for me.
yeah,
He's hilarious in the first one. I don't know about this other one. I'll watch it. Like I said, I gotta watch it. But his character sold them like that. See, when I say a character carries a movie, I feel like he carried that movie.
yeah,
I feel like the Jack Black character in Jumanji carried it. Like it's a good movie by itself, but he just gave it that extra And I feel like with Jim Carrey in these movies, Ace Ventura, he's not carrying anything. It's him. You're just. I mean, I guess I'm seeing this from a filmmaker's standpoint, and be like, can I just record him? Like, I don't want to direct him. I don't want to give him a script. I just want to know we have a story here, but I don't really want to like push him like out of the limit. I want him to stay where he's at. But it's these movies that now that I think about it, I guess they're just really hard to make from the older movies from the 90s and stuff because there's a lot of people involved. And when I see When Nature Calls, I just realized I just feel like it's a simple movie to make. It wasn't hard. I feel like, and other than those two or three little CGI scenes I've seen, like it seems like it's a straightforward. There are some like white balance areas that I liked watching where there's too much exposure, but I like watching that because it's a film greediness to the movie, and I like that I got to see that in certain parts of When Nature Calls and in Pet Detective. But from both of these movies, I don't even there's not really any spoilers in this. You kind of just gotta watch this movie to
yeah,
really get you gotta see it. This is a weird form of slapstick comedy because it's very slapstick. It's very goofy, but
yeah.
it's done artistically, and the way he articulates his moves, his mannerisms, his pattern, like it's great. I couldn't tell that Jim Carrey didn't want to do When Nature Calls.
No,
It looks like it's him. And I did like that. What was his name? Is it, I don't know, I think it's maybe Randall Cobb. What's his, no, the guy that breaks the window in the first and the Pet Detective? Yeah, Randall Tex Cobb. He's the
oh
guy.
yeah, yeah,
He's that guy, like he comes out of he's like a really scary looking guy, and he has a good little cameo in this movie, which I was like, they have some pretty good cameos and the movies for 90s or I guess little people from late 80s and 90s movies, like they're kind of in this movie. I like seeing them. Um, I guess we should. I mean, I don't really want to talk too much more about them because they're
Oh,
just scenes, and they're
yeah,
just good movies. They're funny. They're funny movies. You just see Jim Carrey. I mean, he does bring back the ass man, I guess. In part in the when nature calls, but it's only to do the Tarzan yell.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I thought they were going to go through the whole movie. It'd been so long since I'd seen When Nature Calls, uh, and I was like, are they going to do the ass joke? Like, I figured that would be like part of it, man. They just had it for, like you said, that one scene. Um, what's crazy though? I was I probably laughed more at Nature Calls than I did at Pet Detective. I think that has a lot to do with me just seeing Pet Detective like a couple months back, so it was still pretty fresh. Um, but I had just forgotten how funny When Nature Calls was. Like, yeah. I mean, whenever he's just sitting there talking about the Wachati tribe on the plane ride there, he's like, he's, can you say that again?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like,
I didn't catch that the first time I saw it. Like he's giving him all the story, the vital information. I feel like he's just so smart that Ace Ventura, he knows that it's the guy. He just doesn't really know how to put it together. Like he knows right away, but he just like, let me figure this out.
yeah,
Um, I did like in Pet Detective when he's talking to Tone Loc and he's talking out of his ass, and he goes, "Oh, now you pissed him off." Like he gives the ability, he gives the ass, like he
yeah,
gives it
he's
like a character so
oh
much that
no,
like it feels like, oh, now
the
you,
muffled sound.
now you pissed him off. Yeah, he does. Now you pissed him off. Now you really
Yeah,
pissed him off. I just love that. Like he really knows how to sell that part on like how to sell the ass voice. Like he's trying to cover him up. All right, it's time for the ratings. Let's see I mean, because I just think like for I would say you said you liked one more than the other. Which one was it?
um, Ace Ventura. That's going to be my just because it has so much memories for me.
I'm sorry,
Honestly,
Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls or Pet Detective?
oh, so both? No, Pet Detective. I'm
Okay,
gonna say Pet Detective. That's what I went in, and that's why I watched When Nature Calls first, because I didn't like. I felt like I was gonna go in with a bias if I'd watched the first one first,
yeah,
and I just wanted to go in and be like, okay, I want to focus on this movie and like, yes, really enjoy it, not be comparing it too much.
yeah.
Um, which I still kind of did, but no, I don't feel like I did near as much as if I had watched Pet Detective first. Um, that being said, like I said, I feel like I laughed more at When Nature Calls. It just had more. It just like the stuff that he said, and like I said, I think it was just because I just watched Pet Detective maybe a month or two ago, so a lot of that stuff was still pretty fresh. Um, and it's been forever since I've seen When Nature Calls, and so I just forgotten like the Bumblebee Tuna,
Bumblebee tuna,
Bumblebee Tuna,
Bumblebee tuna.
just goofy stuff like that, and then like, thank you, Helpy Helperton, just like, oh man,
Hey
the
Ben, thanks for the free parking. Sorry, I'm choking myself. I'm gonna use that one. I'm gonna use that in
yeah,
real life. Whenever I get the chance, if I see the opportunity, I'm gonna pull the trigger on that one. God, um,
but
I,
what else do I have? Oh no, it's the Happy Gilmore deal. But yeah, well, like I said, When Nature Calls is just a wacky and it's a fun movie. Like it's fun. Like it's it's just pure fun. I guess it does kind of miss out on a lot of that the little bit darker tones that you mentioned from Pet Detective. Um, so I think it was, yeah, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. Honestly, like I'm really glad I watched it in that order. But I mean, like I said, Ace Ventura, that's it is in my top 10 for sure. Just because the just the amount of times I've seen it, just how much it means a lot to me, man. You know?
yeah. So this is definitely gonna be one of those nostalgia movies for you. So this will be fun. We're 5 episodes in or 4 episodes in, and I get to get your nostalgia pick now. I've had like five, so this is good.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I have one better than the other, but I will see When Nature Calls more for some reason. I think it's that funny. It feels like a airplane, the movie Airplane,
Yeah.
a little bit like where they has like the scenes are just funny. Like he's not really doing much. He's not doing much like to make the scene like the loogie scene like. That just cracks you up. They come, they're having a good time.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
goes out, and then right after that, he
Oh,
tells them, "Go for it, go
it's
for it."
Chicago.
Yeah,
It's
Shikaka.
Chicago.
The,
You're out.
that part, you're out. Like that's funny. It's like he just played a game with them. Dude, you know, nope, you out. You did it, Chicago. Like that guy. Like and also the part
Oh, get out of here.
where they start fighting the two tribes. I just remember when that chief he starts running like right. I remember like when he runs, the fight starts. He starts running and it's the fight starts. But even the part where they go see Shikaka, the albino bat's store cage, and he goes, that's sacred land. And then as soon as the chief the chief the oh my gosh, I'm already gonna mess up. The chief turns his back. He starts stepping on it, and then he shows his son there. Oh, his son. We got the chief's son. That's so funny. Where he's like, "Ace, they caught me." Oh, he goes, "Oh, maybe he's out getting help. Ace, they caught me really easy." He goes, don't just stand there, throw me a spear." It's okay,
Yeah.
Ace. Just get some. like he uses like Huber to save himself without knowing he's using Huber because he's just getting his ass kicked, and he's even upset at the end, which it actually segues to them catching him with the dart because he shoots him in the butt, and then he actually has a wakabi uh, uh, dart, and he had one, and he had the other one. So it's just like his brain was able to connect them. Like he's that
Yeah.
smart. Like it's just like shows you how smart he is about doing all the dumb. And that's what I like about this movie, about both these movies. It shows you how dumb you can seem to other people or the way you are, but you still can do like be yourself and be I don't want to say boss or badass, but you can still be yourself and get by. You can still
Yeah.
you don't really have to be like the norm. I mean, they have those two elitist scenes in both movies, and he sticks out bad. I mean, he even gets attacked by the great white shark and comes out the restroom like, woo, like tries to play it
Not
off.
going
Like,
there.
do not go in there. Like, tries to play it off. Like it's like like, what did you do? Or just tons of things. Like, I just see that Condor scene in the beginning and I'm like, I don't even think that's in the script. I think they just said, let's add something real quick. And can you do this? Alrighty then. Like, but he, just, or maybe not if he didn't want to do it. Maybe they're just like, what's in the script? All right, I'll do it. I don't know. I just like the fact that this movie was able to um I don't I was able to stick with me for all these years that I just remember watching and just laughing the whole time. I love
Yeah.
that portion of just being able to just watch a movie and not think of it and just laugh, and that's what it has. And I think you're right in part. And When Nature Calls, they ramped it up a lot. Um, what I have
What a
here,
lovely room of death.
yeah, yes, he does, and that's kind of cool because he shows you that's kind of what he's feeling, but he gives you the right answer. What a lovely room of death, like
Yeah.
he was, and he
Bye
goes
bye now. You know.
I had a note here. What does it say? Oh, just the Monopoly Man guy. I even wrote here the lovely room of death. The Monopoly Man scene is just do not collect, go. Do not collect $200. Do not pass, go. Like like God, that's you just want him to say it, and he says it, but he knocks him out. Um, what? So I guess I should. Should you rate first or should I rate first?
All right. I'll go first. I will bite the bullet on this one.
All right, because I feel
So,
like you have a little bit more. I feel like I don't want my score to influence you whatsoever. I want to hear
oh,
your
don't worry. I have mine. Actually, I did change mine for When Nature Calls just now.
just
But Ace Ventura is going to get a 12 from me
12.
out of 13. In case you were coming in fresh on our grading system, we do 1 through 13 because why not? Uh, we crank it up to 11. We're gonna bring it on up to 13.
13.
Alrighty. So alrighty then. So 12 for me. It hits. I mean, it is a classic comedy. You just like you said, it's smart. It's dark. It just has everything to it, man. It has football too.
Yeah,
I
it's football.
mean,
Yeah.
it's it's an all American classic movie in my opinion. Uh, you know, uh, so a solid 12 on there. What do you got?
Man, for Pet Detective, I had a hard time with this. I didn't want to give it anything less than a 9, So I already knew right away it's not gonna be sub 9. Like it's gonna be a 9 or more. And then I started finding out if I'm because remember the 11, 12, and 13 is basically more. Those are our points, our bonus points. If shall you say? Because if you get a
Yeah.
9, I give a movie a 9 doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It means it's actually a 9 out of a 10. But on our 13 score, there's a reason why we give it those extra 3 points. I have a hard time with this one. I don't want to settle it on a 10. I don't want to say these are in my top 20. This one's not my top 25. I probably might be close, maybe like 26, but I really want to give it an 11. But I it's the performance. I like I want to give I'm going to say an 11, like around there 10 11, like an 11. I'll go 11. I'm a solid 11 is my final answer. I'm just enamored by his performance, like in this movie and this one more because I feel like this one's a little bit darker. Also, I'll give it the 11 because it has the Courtney Cox factor, and that's every time she comes out, she's very pleasant. Like she's nice, and
Yeah.
she doesn't have an attitude, and she's very positive, and I like that about her too. It's kind of cool that Tone Loc is Ace Ventura's like best friend, so or good friend. So I want to say that an 11, and it hits because it hits a lot of things for me. I don't really I do have a nostalgia with this one, but I don't have it as much. I did see it. I think I saw When Nature Calls way more than I have seen Pet Detective. But they're just, I mean, the scene where he jiggles the keys, the let in from the landlord, and all the like. You got to watch this stuff, like the stuff that he does, just to kind of get by his day. If you just look at him as a regular Joe, and you really can't. That's the funny part I like. So I'll definitely give this an 11. I think you got to watch this one. If you're a Jim, that's why I'm saying it's 11. If you're a Jim Carrey fan, it's an 11. If you're not a
Yeah.
Jim Carrey fan, it's still an 11 because it's Jim Carrey, and you're gonna be a Jim Carrey fan after you watch it. So
Mhm.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. If you combine score of 11 and a half, but it's a 12, 11 and a 12. I think I'm solid with these because you have to watch these movies, especially
Yeah.
like and if I don't know if anyone else has caught on if you've been keeping up with us, but I'm noticing that the way we do our film buff right now is we're doing movies that we really enjoy and that we like that we just kind of talk about. There's going to be a point where we'll talk about some movies that we've never seen or we don't really care and want to give them a second chance. But as of right now, as we're starting, like I like the movies we've been picking, and this one, I had no hesitation to just to say no. I was just like yes, let's do it. And I saw that it was on Netflix. I was like, this is such a good one. Like these are, and I mean the way it came about. I mean we're just I had it for background music and I couldn't do it background noise and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it to this movie, and that's why I put it at 11 because it's just man, it's just funny. I think it's you gotta. I think the difference between When Nature Calls and 11 is maybe 11 is a little bit more. I mean, sorry, 11. Nature Calls and Pet Detective. I'll say Pet Detective might be a little bit on the scale of maybe being a weirdly offensive to a group of people, but back then or
Yeah.
whenever, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think so.
No.
But what about When Nature Calls?
All right. So that one is getting an 11 from me.
11.
I don't have near the nostalgia factor, but just the fact that it's a movie that I've seen before, and like I just forgot how good it was. I think I initially had it as a 10. That was what I was going with, but the more we talked about it, and the more I just kind of like throughout the week, like I said, the same guy who at work who did that quote, like I told him about this podcast, and he was like, "Bumblebee tuna, Bumblebee tuna." Like he was, it was just like right away, and that cracks me up, man. And so, um, yeah, it's a great another great comedy. I mean, like I said, a little bit more zany. I keep on going with that word because
Yeah.
I feel like the best description. But I laughed a lot, and I think that, like I said, if you weren't like, oh, I don't want to watch Pet Detective, and you just watched When Nature Calls, you would still get a solid movie. You would still get the entire essence of the first movie,
Yeah.
uh, just in like a just with more jokes. It's not trying to, it has a pretty solid storyline, but it's not trying to hit certain things like, oh, okay, well, this is, it's not trying to unravel a mystery as
Yeah.
much, you know. Like the first one is just like, oh, who's Ray Finkel, and it's just, it's like, it's kind of a twist, you know. It's a pretty good twist at the end,
Yeah.
and then this one, it's just like, oh, it's who hired you, like, bless you.
Thank you.
You know, it's almost like one of those James Bond movies, like, oh, you know, I hired you to, you know,
I mean,
to find out it was me.
he even explains it to you, like, why'd you hire me? It's like, well, you know, you're taking the fall. You're like the alibi, you know. But
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think with just everything that said, I'm giving this a hard 11. It's there's I can you can take one or the other. They're not the same, but they're the same laugh, the same joy. There's a little bit more. I think you're right. They ramped it up because they had a bigger budget. They had to pay Jim Carrey more money too. So, but I mean, if they were paying more money, they got a performance out of him that I think it was $15 million worth. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
oh
I
yeah,
don't think he needed to do more of anything. But I'll give it an 11, and I keep it there. The same thing I said with the Pet Detective, When Nature Calls. You want to watch these movies. You can watch them in any which order, but you want to watch these movies because they're just funny pieces. They're just. I mean, even like I feel like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, my son can watch these and just. I mean, he was watching. I put on When Nature Calls, and he was. I let him watch a little bit of it, and he was cracking up with just Jim
yeah,
Carrey scenes, which with a
yeah.
two and a half year old was cracking up watching Jim Carrey on screen.
But
It's like,
it's just because he's doing those movies,
yeah,
you know, like he's like stalking around, and you know, it's almost like he was playing, like whenever he played the Grinch. I think that's really what kind of, so he's like doing that whole
yeah,
sculpting thing, like, and you almost forget that Jim Carrey is the Grinch
yeah.
sometimes,
You do.
you know.
I always forget the. I gotta like be reminded like that's Jim Carrey. Like that's
Yeah,
he really sells it. Um, I mean, I gotta really stick with this 11 because it is a good movie. It hits me with a little bit with nostalgia, not too much, but I'll say that just to laugh, like I mean, dumb laughs. I don't have to
yeah.
think about it. I don't have to sit here and be like, "Oh, I get the joke." No, it's just why are you doing stuff like that? Like I just crack up. He pulls the elbow of a guy playing a cello, like or standing, a standing bass, and it's just like to me, it's like why or violin. I can't tell what he's playing, but it's like why are you pull that? Like what's that split second? Like that just cracks me up, and then the other one, the peanuts, that little part, like just little things like those little small little snippet jokes just crack me up. Like, so I give this one 11. This falls more into what I when I call these 11. You have to watch these, like especially
Yeah.
if you're an actor, you have to watch these and learn how to take a scene and how to make it yours and how to deliver and how to bring a character alive, how to actually make the character make sense, how the character can learn all the dialogue, how he can do it. That he stretches the acting wheel here. Mr. James Carey does. He really he does a really good job. Yeah, I don't got like anything, but that opening scene is just the cliffhanger homage is just I love that. If you've never seen Cliffhanger, you just watch that, you just see how good the quality is, how this movie just they really stepped it up, cranked it up, and it's funny.
Yeah.
These are funny ha ha movies, and there's no real seriousness to them. So as long as you go in with that kind of mindset, you're gonna have a great time. If even if I did a 1 through 10 scale on this, I'd hit a 10.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
because this you got to watch these movies. This is, and you said something earlier that I was like, yeah, he's right. It's an American classic. Like, there's, I mean, we like burgers, we like hot dogs, and we like pizza. Why can't we like the best part of that though? And this is what I feel like. This is all those combined. If you want to like, I don't know if I'm going too far on the on the metaphor here, but I mean it's a very simple American laugh at me, laugh at you, laugh at the scenario. Let's keep laughing. Like they don't take anything serious really. I mean, and that's the thing. There's a murder in Pet Detective. It's a serious case. There's these two like I mean, well, there's an antagonist and Iron um Finkel Einhorn, and then the Guado character, he's another pain in the butt. But outside of that, it's really just like he's going up against these characters, Ace Ventura, but he doesn't have to like he's just a detective. He's still and that's the thing, he's still a detective. He's still doing his job. He's not a cop. He's not showing up with a gun. He's not I mean, he kind of feels indestructible because he falls off a waterfall and survives. He fights an alligator. he gets shot by a dart, poisonous darts like 6 times. Like, that's even funny. 3 darts is too much. Yeah, yeah. If you like you gotta watch Jim Carrey in this movies. If you're gonna watch Jim Carrey slapstick, this is the ones. This is the way to go. He matures like in his movies, like he does in real life, but he still has those little quirks that he brings to the table, and they're very very adamant in this movie, and both of these movies. He's just. I just want to know how he created these characters because they're really like this Ace Ventura character is very very amazing to me as a performer. That's hard to do. A lot of stuff he did. I feel it
Yeah.
takes he did it. He's been doing it over time, and he's kind of feel comfortable with it. But still, like you got to watch these movies, and you got to like just enjoy them. If you just want to like turn your brain off, just watch this. But it's not like stoner humor. This is just funny humor.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I feel stoner humor just completely shut your brain off, and you're just laughing. This one is like, oh my god, you thought of that? Oh, that's funny. Oh, really? God, like that's what I like. Um, yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I like that we picked these two, man. I was saying while you went to the restroom, I love that I bought the double feature of this movie. It is now part of my collection. Kind of the same
Yeah.
as my Home Alone double feature. I really don't like buying double feature movies because I like having two individual boxes, but now I see the point of having one box with all the movies in it, so you don't have to have a bunch of boxes. But
I'm the same as you.
yeah, I like
Like
having everything.
I like it having it. Like they need to be the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Funny story about that. Then I think we can move on to our next picks.
All
I think
right.
we're recording on Wednesday right now, in case anybody who's listening or watching, and we plan on doing another show on Sunday. So it's going to be a cramped week, especially for old CJ here, who's doing more than one podcast. Which to that I was going to suggest if you do, sir, if you want to go to every other week, just to make it a little bit easier on you. I mean, we could.
No, no, no,
Okay,
no.
I just wanted to throw it your way.
I'm digging what we're doing. I don't mind burying myself. I know how to get out. I know how to resurrect this. I'm
All right.
I may be older, but I'm not old. What was it? Old but not obsolete. No, I think I know I love it. I love that it's already. I think it's just the you're getting to see the because my son's already going to be he's 2.5 but he's not 3 yet, but he's moving on to 3, and three's the age where he is going to start school. So I mean, whether I'm teaching him here at home or he's physically go somewhere, he's going to start. So I'm preparing myself for when that happens. But even like we noticed today when he fell and hit his head, like it's like, man, like I can't account for that stuff. I mean, we both
Yeah.
even on Sunday I was busy on Sunday. I went and had a barbecue or not barbecue. We had to my brother-in-law's house. Oh, that was cool. I want to bring up something my brother-in-law shared with me. But we were hanging out there, and I'm just like, what, if you're gonna do it, you got to make it. I don't want to go to every other week because that means that's only 2 times a month. And then that means
Yeah.
that it's like if you miss one of those, then you're really bad. At least with this one, we can make up for it during the week. And yes, it is going to be a cram session. And I haven't posted the podcast yet, but they're going to be posted soon. And once we figure that out, but I was saying this, I would like the continuity to keep it going. I have all the material, I have all the films, so it's not like all the resources. All I got to do is put them together. But I do like that we're doing this. I want to keep it going as long as we can, because watching these movies now is giving me a purpose. Where before I was just kind of randomly watching what's on, and I do like that because now like I watch that guy Dick Miller, and I was able to just sit it and watch it through the whole. And I watched it at night, so I fell asleep like at 11 when it was done. But I was watching it, and I was just like, I like this because I just saw Pet Detective, and I want to get my brain around something else. And I've done this almost every time I've done a podcast. I'll watch some movie, well, especially with us two. I've watched a movie in between of what we're in between the movies we're watching, and it really does like I've been saying, I want to do the old comparison of wine to movies. It's kind of the way you describe a wine in a movie, but like your palate. Some people with like sushi, coffee, or whatnot, they'll do a ginger palate rub to clean their palate. I mean, or they'll put ginger on their tongue to clean their palate. And I kind of do that with movies, and I like that because I like that I'm watching something that I didn't know that it was out there that I'm watching that I want to watch, but then I'm also watching something with a point, and the point is to like, hey, we have these shows, and I just like, I mean, the be real, the COVID is really the quarantine has really broken me down a lot, and I like that we're able to do this and have fun with it. I'm gonna watch movies either way, but I like that
Yeah.
we're actually able to do this. So I wanted to share. Maybe we could do this later because this one was just shared to me today and I really liked it. But we also could do. We brought up Super Troopers, and
I was gonna say,
I
yeah,
I am overdue on some Super Troopers, man.
cool.
I got stuck on the Salmon Slammin'.
Oh yes, I love that movie, man.
Dude, I got stuck on that.
Oh, I
Like,
almost decapitated his ass. You know, I
hey
love.
guy, for
Oh
shy
my
guy.
gosh,
See,
dude.
I mean
That,
the Broken Lizard guys. Those following those guys when I was younger, that they're the ones that were kind of. I'm like, okay, they're a film crew and they make
yeah.
movies. I want to be like that. I actually want to make a movie for them. But Shallow Grave is the movie is called. I don't know exactly. It's a Ewan McGregor. It's one of the first ones he did, and it looks like this is one thing I liked about this movie. It had a great trailer. And
What
maybe
was
we
it
could
again?
Shallow Grave. It's a 1994 movie with Ewan McGregor. It's a crime thriller. Um, Three friends discover their new flatmate dead but loaded with cash. That's the tagline. I gotta say, like, this might be a movie we could watch down the line, but it's like a more older vintage. I mean, it's Ewan McGregor. I don't know when Train Spotting was. I think that was like 92 or something. But I like that one. But with Super Troopers, there's a one and a two, and they're far apart from each other too. That's
Yeah.
another thing.
I was gonna say either Super Troopers 1 and 2, or maybe Super Troopers and Club Dread. I saw that on Hulu the
Dude.
other day. Honestly, man, I wish Beer Fest would be another great one to do, because I mean that movie is, talk about quotable movies right there. I
All
mean,
right. So we
uh,
got we got kind of our theme going. We're going Broken Lizard.
yeah,
Now we're doing two.
I yeah,
We got so today's Wednesday and we're gonna do one on Sunday. And even on that one, I'm gonna be coming home from my hometown, so I'm gonna like show up and I'm gonna go straight to the podcast. So I gotta watch these movies like soon. So, but
I
I
luckily I have tomorrow off, so I think I know.
how to crunch it. I
Yeah,
think I might. I know I own Super Troopers. I think I own. Let me. I gotta look for it, but I think I might own. I don't own Club Dread. I own Super Troopers One. I own Simon Slammin, and I own. I think I own Beer Fest.
yeah. I
I
just
also bought Beer League. I like Beer League too. That's the Artie Lang movie.
yeah, already playing. Yeah, no, I have Super Troopers 1 and 2. Like I said, the only reason I brought up Club Dread is because I did see that on Hulu. Oh my gosh,
What's that?
Netflix, the producers, with Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that movie.
Oh, the producers.
Yes,
I haven't
I
seen that
just
one.
saw it.
If we do
Oh,
if we do producers, I want to do. I would like to compare that one to the original one.
the original.
I have
Yeah,
I think it's Gene Wilder is in the original.
yeah, it's Gene Wilder and oh gosh, I don't know who the other one is.
Uh,
But yeah, no, I like the Broken Lizard idea. I think we should stick with that. Do you want to do Super Troopers 1 and 2? I mean, that would be a kind of a cool thing because we did two movies that were 2 years apart, and then this is more of like what, almost 20 years, because that came out in like 2019, 2018.
yeah, with this concept, I'm definitely a Broken Lizard. So I don't care if we do Super Troopers One, Super Troopers Two, Club. I'll do Club Dread. I honestly, I wouldn't even mind doing Super Troopers and Club Dread because I think those are right next to each other when they came out.
Yeah, it was 2001 and then 2004.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind doing that. Like I want to say because Super Troopers was an independent movie, and I think Club Dread. No, I think also Club Dread might have been independent as well. But
Well, Super Troopers 2 was pretty independent.
was it?
Well,
Oh yeah, they did the GoFundMe, didn't they?
yeah.
That's awesome. See, I like hearing about that. Okay, I am overdue for any one of these movies except Salmon Slamming, but I will still watch Slamming.
Same, same.
So Super Troopers 2001, and then Club Dread 2004, and then we have Beer Fest 2006, and then we have let's see, where's Salmon
It was
Slamming?
Flaming Salmon and then Super Troopers 2, I think.
Where's it at? Where's Salmon Slamming? Yeah. But what okay, I'm down for any order, any of these movies, any which way. I like these movies a lot, dude. I like these guys. I think Club Dread didn't really get up good reviews, like, and I thought it was good.
I did too.
So I say we stay away from Beer Fist because that is that's a that's like a 13. So that's an easy 13. I mean, the reason I don't want to pick Beer Fest is because it's a donkey pick. In sports betting, a donkey pick means it's a guaranteed answer. So this one for me is like a 13 right off the bat. Like the way they got it. I'm down
Let's
with I'm
let's
down with
do let's do Super Troopers and Super Troopers 2.
okay.
I think we have, maybe we can go 2 weeks back to back to where we're comparing sequels.
That's fine.
And I do like the fact that they are a little bit further apart.
How far was it?
Uh,
18 years?
yeah. 17.
17 years.
17.
That's a huge gap, man.
It really is.
I feel like
And
if you're toying with that 12 to 15 years, that's already too far, but we'll see. Because and I think we could find this out with these
and
movies, because I think what happens is the times change, people change, decades change, people just start thinking a little different, or maybe they just don't want to think like that anymore, or maybe those jokes get old or something, or maybe they're ahead of their time, or maybe they're behind their time. I don't know, but I like that we have Super Troopers 1 and 2 on the mount coming up the bat. What do you see? We'll see what one more we can dig up on these movies, because I do know there's a cool story for how Super Troopers 1 got their funding. I know it was kind of like a blind luck kind of thing, where they needed a friend's dad to loan the money, and they had to go meet him at like a fancy cocktail or something party, and well, this is the story the way I'm telling it. I don't know if it's 100%, but I like this version. And basically, they just talked to his dad, and he said either yes or no, and they showed up, and they said, we need, like in their heads, they're thinking like, we need this money. If we don't get it, we're not going to be able to make this movie. Then we're screwed. And sure enough, the guy just said, yeah, I'll do it for y'all. But I got to remember the story. But I remember it was something like that, where they got the money really, really like it's like a loan, like a friend paid it to them, like a friend's dad. And I think that's pretty cool, just to kind of, there's someone to believe in them that much to write them a check, or it's something like that. I gotta look into it, and maybe in the time from now to then, I will have looked into it, and I will be able to talk about it.
What, in 3 days, 3 or 4 days?
Hey, and you know what? I just I think is there something I just came across? It says Super Troopers 3 Winter Soldiers. Is this a real?
Yeah. I've heard that was introduction a couple years back.
Wow.
But yeah, it's the play on the Marvel.
That's
Marvel
so
stuff.
Yeah, let's see what they did. Okay, yeah, Slam and Sam 2009. That see, even like that, I think Super Troopers 2000. It's like they're right there. Yeah, 2001. That's only 8 years apart. And is that Beer Fest? Yeah, I think we did good. I think we're so. The next side by side is going to be the Broken Lizard movies, Super Troopers 1 and Super Troopers 2. So get ready for those episodes to come out, or let me be shot. It'll be this Sunday, a couple days. But I feel we're already at the cross points at the end, and and I feel like this one was kind of. I feel like this one, Ace Ventura, was a little bit just self-explanatory. I feel like you just gotta watch the movies. We're here to tell you, if you want to talk about it, hear why we appreciate it, and then you can come back and see this kind of matches up with us. But I honestly think that this is probably a shorter episode, just because if we really were to sit down and like talk about Jim Carrey's performance in both these, or just Ace Ventura, like we'd just be laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
Like we could even, if we were to individually talk about all the stuff. There's too much. There's a lot of. There's just so much stuff that he does. And one of the big notes I got is Ace Ventura loves doing Ace things. The thing that got me was in the airplane, he's spinning the seeds. And they show the time pass, and then it shows you his arm's still there. He doesn't even change. He doesn't move it. He does it in the office in Pet Detective. He's in the office eating seeds.
Terrible habit.
Yeah, it's like you know what I mean. The way he eats seeds, like those are just little things that he adds to the character. Jim Carrey adds to Ace Ventura that just makes him Ace Ventura. So I feel happy with this episode, because it's just if you like Jim Carrey, watch these movies like back to back, and you will laugh. You will laugh your butt off. But yeah, so Super Troopers 1 and 2. We're signing off. Are we good with that? You good to sign off?
Yep. Right, let's sign off.
All right.
Y'all have a great evening.
Y'all do. Have a good night. This is CJ Robles.
This has been Garrett.
Adios.